that's a different conversation.
It's a two-person job.
Well, when,
But I'm going to leave that alone,
yeah, I would think so.
because that will get me into trouble, and I'm do good to get myself in trouble all the time.
I imagine that you do.
Well, I can tell you, I'm still alive, and
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Yep. I think the first thing we need to do is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those yet? Or if we need a couple minutes to take a quick look?
I'd like you to know that I used the previous sheet, the one that we're not using now, instead of reading this new one, for my number.
Okay, because I just saw.
Yeah, so they're not,
Okay,
they're based on what was.
okay, can we just correct those while we go?
Well, we can, or we can leave them as they are, and they'll be updated in the new minutes, because they occurred in the old minutes.
But I didn't have them total.
No,
Okay. So,
but if you'd like, I can go back through and,
at this point, I would say, why don't we,
Postpone them?
well, either we postpone them or we accept this as the minutes of the day.
Desirable.
And I think Susan was saying.
Or defer it, I'm not
today
sure.
will
She-
Give us an
And
the
update.
real, the
necessary.
real numbers.
It's on this sheet here.
Let me suggest, there's been a discussion between Susan and Diane that the numbers that are reflected in the minutes were the numbers we spoke to that day. They may have changed from some subsequent sheets coming in.
Yep.
So if it's okay with everybody on the committee, I'd like to approve the minutes as is, and then the next set of minutes will have the updated numbers rather than going back through and editing these minutes because we didn't have the numbers then.
Right, okay.
If that makes sense. So I think the first up is the minutes of September 17th, 2008. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any changes or discussion or corrections? Again, Susan, thank you for all the details and the organization of the minutes.
Thank you.
I hear no changes recommended, so I'll call for a vote on approving the minutes as written. We have the motion made, so let's just call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
I abstain.
Okay.
301. Thank
Yep.
you.
And if you can just make note, Susan, if we don't already, I can't remember, if we have the abstentions are basically equal to people who didn't attend that meeting. So if we can
Yes.
just put a little footnote there,
I
so
think the
people.
members absent are on each, at the
Yeah,
top of the
no, I
minutes.
agreed.
But would you like to know that?
Yeah, if you just put a little note,
Okay.
that would,
All right. Okay.
the world is not perfect, and somebody 10 years from now will say, I know they were absent, but were they the ones who abstained? Okay. The second set of minutes is on September 18th. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion this time.
I will
Happy-
second.
All right, having a large committee, we have so many choices. Are there any comments on the September 18th minutes? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written, please say aye.
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 Again, I'll abstain.
With another abstention. And just as a reminder for the record, the minutes include numbers that were discussed that day. They may not be the final numbers as a result of additional projects and sheets that we got towards the end of the process, so those numbers will be updated in the following set of minutes. Okay, thank you. A couple things before we begin. One, I'd like to thank the town administrator, the school superintendent, their department heads, and the staffs for really doing an excellent job in providing the information this year. I think we've worked over the past 4 or 5 years to be able to get the process down with a lot of help from Diane and Susan in the last 2 years. And I think it's great, especially with the addition of a facilities manager, to have all the projects, regardless of what's approved or not. I think this is a fair assessment of the host of projects and capital needs. So we have a great guidepost to go through, regardless of how much we're able to fund. The second couple of issues just to put on the table as we go through this, and Diane, when's the date we need the recommendation?
By October 1st, but my goal is by this Friday, we'll get them all to Steve.
Okay, so we have to make a recommendation on the total amount from this sheet?
The individual capital reserve amounts.
Okay.
And the recommendation.
And then we're gonna meet in theory on November 3rd to present something to the town council.
That's my understanding. That hasn't been firmed up yet,
Okay.
but that's the date the town administrator gave me.
And then the budgets, they finally approve after that? Okay. The last is more of an organization thing, and I just wanted to get your input on it. We have a series of projects that Greg has given us some details on called ESCO, or energy saving projects, that still need to be reviewed and determine which ones, if not all of them, that we will participate in. If those projects are approved, then they will no longer require capital from a capital contribution, because they will be self-funding through energy savings. I'm hoping everybody is following that. To the extent I'd like us to put on our summary sheet the ESCO projects as a separate line item, perhaps, so that when further down the road, we can have that number available should it, we reduce that out of our recommendation. Is everybody with that? Okay. The last issue, we can discuss this later on, but I at least wanted to raise it. The list of capital funds that Diane has provided us, which is great, what the current balances are, and those plans to spend some of the money this year. We do not have all the either enterprise or revolving or trust funds down. And the question I have, and I'm not sure there's a clear answer, is if we have other funds outside capital that can be used for capital projects, like the library trust fund has some funds, the recreation department has a revolving fund, there are others around in some of the departments, from use of emergency vehicles, things of that nature. Do we have a set of policies and procedures in the town to be able to say, if one of these enterprise or revolving funds is successful enough to pay for its own capital needs out of the revenues they generate, should we look to that fund first to pay for their own capital needs, rather than looking at contributing to the CIP? And I think if we have, if we at least bring that up as a question for the town council to make sure they're comfortable in going through the process, what I believe it will do is be able to put a little less stress on capital and allow whatever contribution is voted on by the town council to go to those particular projects that are not either part of ESCO or have sufficient funds in other pockets for them. Is there any comments on that, Al?
Yeah, it's a great point. And I have no clue as to what the answer is, but I think it's an important one. I think this year or last year, for the first time, we captured the current balances, which we didn't capture in prior years. That's a good step forward. But from an accounting standpoint, I don't know what the order is, trusts, capital. Maybe Diane, you do. But I think I'd almost like to have that answer before we proceed on this.
Yeah, well, we've tried, we're not gonna have that
You're not gonna get
answer.
it?
Well, I think Steve's traveling, this has come up, we have to have a recommendation in Friday, but if we break apart ESCO as one group that we know.
That one's
Okay.
good, yep.
And then two, if you wanna make another footnote in the minutes, subject to, this is the gross recommendation, subject to, any review of revolving or trust fund balances.
Yeah, we can also, my guess is the town council will ask that question.
I think it's a town council.
Yeah, I think, but
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't think
they very,
CIP.
after hearing this, they may very well say,
Yeah.
thank you very much, CIP committee, but there's one more piece of information we need, and that is, how do the trust funds,
And the revolving
and,
fund.
yeah,
We're gonna have to get that information from administration and from the departments that have those funds.
yeah, and I think we would simply say, we don't, if we're making them without that knowledge, town council, I think you should have that knowledge before you go
Right,
ahead.
and it's up to them
Yeah,
to
yeah,
track the information down
Yep.
and to use it in their deliberation.
I've discussed this with Diane today. What raised it for me, thinking back 4 or 5 years ago, when we ended up, when recreation was part of the general
Yep.
fund, then we made it a revolving fund and saying we'd like the programs to be self-sufficient and pay for the staff out of general funds. I think they started to be very successful, and Amy, when she presented to us, said some funds were coming from the capital fund and some funds were coming from
Yep.
the revolving
Enterprise.
fund.
Yeah.
And then my question was, well, what's the process of where you pick? And then Diane said we have other funds floating out there,
Yeah.
be they library trust funds.
my
So
suspicions are Lisa will tell us in 3 minutes what the answer is,
It
but
very
it's
well
too late now.
yeah, okay, but let's, I agree that if we all in agreement to
Yep.
get that up, and
Yep.
whether we're allowed to see that
It's really good.
information or not, the town council certainly should have it to
Yep.
make decisions. Okay? Thank you for those 2 items. What we're looking at, so we're all, I hope, on the same pages, is we have about, 57 sheets?
56 projects.
56 projects we've reviewed for the various departments in the school and the town. Those are listed on the 3 detail sheets by group, I believe. So we have public works and facilities. So we have the 57 sheets of paper with the project particulars, a summary from Diane, and 3 pages of those 57 sheets, though I don't think we have the priorities, so if we
No.
have any discussion on those, we'll need to refer.
It's on the first page.
Okay.
It's on one.
We have the
The first-
priorities, but we don't have them listed
Larger.
project by project.
The big
No,
page,
because that's
this
something
page.
you decide.
Right.
It's part of our deliberations.
This-
On this spreadsheet, Al,
Yep.
in the very bottom, there's a listing of the priority
Yep.
rankings that we can refer to.
Yep. How do I know a D from a D, a desirable from a?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So we
Because I
came
didn't
up with
know-
the system D1, D2.
What is,
D1 would be desirable, D2 is deferrable, and you can read the descriptions right there.
right, but if I go up to the priorities by the department
Somebody that
folks,
knows.
all they have is a D.
D.
So I
know.
don't,
Well, I think we need to clarify that as we go through.
or maybe
Because
not.
this is-
Maybe you just clump them together and say, I don't know. I just couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, we raised that a couple meetings ago,
Okay.
though we didn't, I don't think we saw many Ds in there, I don't know.
So a few.
So if this makes sense, I'm trying to organize myself for this process as well and say,
Can I point out something?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I did tie this back to the spreadsheet, the project sheets that we have.
okay,
In the very last column, there's page numbers, and those page numbers refer to the forms that you all received at last week's meeting and the previous meeting, so that you can refer back to the page numbers.
Okay.
And that's the
Hopefully that
page
will
number
help.
of the big packet, right?
It's a nightmare creating it, but
The only question that I have in looking at the summaries is, since we don't have all the projects on the summary sheet, and we're setting priorities on a project level, not a summary level. So if I look here, we may have 3 or 4 public works projects.
if you wanna bring it down to that final level of detail, that's up to you. We
Okay.
haven't done that in years past.
Oh, we just generally for which of the major
We just,
department
yeah,
ones?
but
are
if you
the-
wanna,
Okay.
and then we can take that column off of this spreadsheet and put it on this spreadsheet.
Gotcha. So everybody understand, on the project sheets, each project has a rating. The summary sheet, it's just the department request summary that has a ranking. So maybe we should go through one and see what our discussion is on it.
So for
And
example,
If we did
under
public,
recreation,
yeah, if we did public works, I'm just looking at
okay,
Page 9.
the 3-page summary as a guidepost.
yep,
And then keeping the big sheet in front, we have 4 public works projects on pages 9, 10, 11, and 12.
yep,
In the details.
Yep.
So, when we get to page 9.
What's that?
These are copies of the revised forms that I sent you on Friday.
Okay, great. So if I look at page 9, which is,
Yeah, which is, doesn't have any.
there's no priority on it,
Yep.
yep,
right?
we have no priority other than the 3 items to be replaced.
Yep.
That's the priority.
If you go to roadway improvements, which is page 10, he's got a priority of U.
Is there no priority
There's-
because it's coming out of a different?
Right, on that particular project.
They didn't give
He
me
used a
it.
different form.
I can
on
only give
page
you what they
9.
give me. If they don't give me it,
We have an
I can't
N
chase after people.
on page 11,
A what?
an N on sidewalk development,
Okay.
page
get
11.
that. Yep,
And 12, we have,
so can we find sidewalk development on facilities, buildings and grounds? Or is it not broken down?
Sidewalks is under Public Works.
Yep, oh, I'm sorry.
so we're looking at.
Okay, so there it is, the only thing we don't, I get it. The only thing we don't have is the priority that was given to it.
And that's on the forms that we gave out.
Right.
No,
last Tuesday.
he doesn't have any.
If it was on this page, it would be helpful, because we would know whether they considered it a priority or not, is that right?
In years past, we always reserved that to the committee to override any priority listings from the departments. We did not include that in the overall recommendations.
No, but I'm saying is we review, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Okay, so let me suggest we try to take the vehicles and equipment, which doesn't have a priority, but to me has at least a priority by saying 3 of the pieces of equipment need to be replaced shortly.
Look on page 8, you will see the fire line or pumper. It's considered urgent. Page 8.
Yep.
I marked it, my own mark,
Yeah,
as a U.
Now, how'd you come up with that?
Good from his presentation.
Not his evaluation, your reaction to it.
No, his evaluation.
Yeah.
So,
He said it was,
where are we starting?
I thought we were gonna be starting with Public Works,
Okay, and,
the 4 projects there.
okay, can we go back then to the Public Works Department? This is not Public Works.
This is fire and rescue.
Right.
So what page?
Okay, so we're looking at pages 9, 10, 11, and 12. vehicles.
10, 11,
10 marked urgent is the
12.
roadway improvements as a total group. Necessary would be the sidewalk development from next priority.
Can you do that one more time? Necessary, yeah. What was the other one? I'm sorry. Road improvements was
Road
designated
improvements was urgent.
urgent,
Stormwater management
Yeah.
was urgent.
yeah. And vehicles and equipment are unknown.
They're not rated.
Yeah, not rated.
Okay. So is everybody agreeing to that? Or you're just saying that's what the department?
Well, that's what the department said. I would also say getting the new fire engine, the roadway improvements, I know, well, fire engine, let's put aside till we get to fire engine. Roadway, we've said is urgent in the past, and is there anybody here who disagrees it's a priority to continue to keep the roads? Okay. No, it is a top priority. Apologies if I misspoke.
And sidewalks is an N,
Yep.
according to him. So we're really following his,
Yeah, I
in
don't,
that case, we're following his.
yeah, unless someone has a
Yeah,
strong
I think
disagreement.
that's a good way to approach it.
Okay.
For the record, can I just go over that to make sure that we have it? Because I have to take all this information and
Okay.
transfer it to the form, okay?
Yeah,
So-
I would look at the one we didn't rate as vehicles, I would rate an N.
Okay,
Would anybody
Yep.
all right.
disagree with that?
And then stormwater management,
Stormwater was a U.
U,
yeah. Okay, road improvements
U,
and sidewalk.
N.
And
Did you get all those, Susan? Correct.
So now we use, we have in the past, we voted on each.
Do we want to just go down, since we're on the roll
Let's-
of doing the urgent priority, you want to continue with that?
That would be helpful to me.
So we can then compare them all.
Okay.
Okay, so
Does that
we'll go
make
through
sense?
each
Yep.
of the details and then we'll
Yeah.
back again.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
There
Now,
we go. And then
so we're gonna
what
move
we'd
on
be
to,
recommending for the next year, assuming all those projects are still there, would be the 530, which is the cumulative pieces, right?
right,
Yeah, the one yep.
Okay.
And the one I would question would be the 50, because it's not urgent.
Sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
improvements. Yeah, okay.
Sidewalk development or sidewalk improvement?
it's sidewalk improvements.
Well,
I don't think it matters, it's the sidewalk fund.
It's new
Same-
sidewalks. I don't
new
believe
sidewalks.
it's repairing the existing,
Yeah.
I
But
believe Rick's
it's
thing was
improvements to the sidewalk system.
extending the sidewalks like the new ones that have been built on 108
You want to change that
out
to?
the way towards town, which maybe it's good or bad. We don't have the specific underlying new
So-
sidewalk area.
So
Are we
change
saying that the
development?
request is approved, the request, the 195,000 for Public Works, CRF?
We're not saying anything about money at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
We're just talking about priority
Okay.
rankings.
Okay.
Right,
Right?
but the 195 represents the three vehicles that we now have as an N classification that Rick is looking to.
Mm-hmm, okay, got it. All right, just so I understand it.
That's the budget. Unless, I would look at it as unless we know we either need to expand or shrink our public works vehicles, I'm fine with using the standard depreciation and the focus of retiring vehicles when they need to be. And the only comment I've heard, and we can go back to it, is maybe no, that's the only one that we may have a comment on later. So I'll put a little question mark there. Okay.
You wanna jump to the smaller ones and get
Yeah.
those cleared, it would be easier, I think.
Let's do the
Go to
fire. and-
library?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to fire and rescue since it's related, at least to the same, if that's not
Okay,
too
so
much.
that's pages 7 and 8.
Page 7 and 8, which we can get to the fire truck.
Okay, sorry.
And we don't have any, we have rankings for fire safety, for equipment urgent, and for, the other equipment line item is urgent as well.
Yeah,
Both are used?
yeah,
Okay.
the issue on page 7, if I remember from my notes, is Rick was, the portables are absolutely needed for communication, and the plan was to be able to replace them over a 3-year period
Mm-hmm.
for $42,000 per third. And I would certainly look at that as an urgent
Mm-hmm.
to update. So I'm fine on urgent for protective equipment. Yep.
Does everybody agree?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, let's go back to library.
Well, let's do the fire engine vehicles.
Boy,
Okay, whatever, you run the show.
Okay, let me just do
We're-
the fire engine.
Wait a minute, you get me.
where are we going?
We're going to the fire engine on page 8.
Oh, I thought we were,
Uh,
okay.
No,
Yeah,
I mentioned it, but it was my
Okay,
error.
this is Clara, go ahead.
Okay, any comments on the fire engine? I had a note here that maybe it was necessary and not necessarily urgent, but,
I have in my notes urgent.
okay.
Fire
Yeah.
engine needs
I would
to
think
go.
a fire engine is an urgent one.
Okay. So, do I have any discussion, or can I ask if urgent is what the majority, okay. Trevor, urgent on the fire engine? Judy?
Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. And I think Rick mentioned that since we don't have sufficient funds at the moment for that, that may present itself to be necessary to lease before we can accumulate
Great.
funds for purchase. Okay. Let's do library, 'cause
Okay.
that's the one you wanted to do in
Sure,
order.
okay, page 26, 27, and 28. And for 26, under the library entrance, pedestrian enhancements, I have in my notes desirable 1, which is a project which would be beneficial to the community but is not necessary, compulsory, or urgent.
And for what it's worth, in my notes, when I went through the project, I wanted to make sure that it was not required, and it is not. It is my understanding that it's an ADA access.
No,
Okay. So that's, D is fine.
these are
So
improvements.
this is D1, I guess is what we're gonna call it this year, and that's fine.
Well, desirable versus preferable.
Ready to move on to the next one?
I just had one thing, I'm sorry, just to reconnect back. I'm not aware that in Public Works, there's any type of trust fund or revolving fund.
It's all ratepayer.
Maybe, but I'm not aware
It's
that,
ratepayer.
There's a transportation, municipal transportation fund, which is the $5 on your registration that goes into the municipal transportation improvement fund every year. So that is a source of funding for public works projects.
just as we go through each group, if we're aware, so there may be a municipal transportation fund
Yep.
that would do vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Well, not vehicles, but roadway improvements and sidewalks,
Oh, okay.
and possibly stormwater as associated with that.
Gotcha. And you're saying that maybe road improvements and sidewalks. Okay. Yeah, if we could just think, I know the library, we said D1 for the first item.
Yeah.
Um,
They're saying D for the second item, which is the interior paint.
Yeah, that needs to.
So which of the two? Probably D1 again.
What, the painting?
Yeah. Would be beneficial, but is not good.
Yeah, I think it's desirable, at least in one room.
I'm saying that's desirable. Is it D1 or D2?
I'd say,
D1 is desirable, D2 is deferrable.
Oh, I say would be D1.
okay.
D1? D1, I think.
Any
Everybody agree?
objections? Okay, we're fine. And the library roofing, I'm not gonna quibble with the U ranking, especially since I think it's been overseen by our facilities director. Would you agree on the urgency for the library?
Roof.
I have it not for this fiscal budget, though. It's in for the 2021 budget. And I would say that it is a U, but not that we'll get it. We made some temporary patches to it, so it's something that needs to be addressed.
So should this be one then that we should look at putting some money away over the next 2 or 3 years to pay for it? Because this indicates we're gonna try to pay for it in 2021.
And there is a discussion, it is a library, so there are trust
Trust funds.
funds for these projects. So the current level is 77,138.
I guess
That's for the CIP or for the trust fund?
That's their
CIP.
CIP level, and I believe I have that breakdown here. See if I can lay my fingers on it quickly.
77,138 is what
Right.
they have in their
That's what's in
account.
there
That's
now.
the CIP, that's the
Right.
capital.
Right,
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
We
So,
don't know what the trust fund is, which is one of the questions.
so my question is, if you were asked the question, when does the money need to be spent to do whatever you're recommending for $116,000?
2021.
Okay, so it's gotta be done right away.
Not in this coming year, next
Not this
year.
coming fiscal year.
So you got,
I got enough to get through what I'm going through right now. I made some patches and some repairs to get us through another year.
That's partial, though. That's not the whole roof.
It's actually a recertification of partial roofing. Yes,
Right.
It's not stripping.
Because they
It
did
is-
a lot of roofing last
They
year.
did, yep.
So I would, not that I want to make up another rating, but I think it stays as urgent with the note that it's deferrable for just 1 year.
or another
Correct.
suggestion is take the 116, we put in half of it this year and half of it in 2021.
Okay, you're saying,
That would
Again,
be your decision, not.
well, again, we're trying to plan ahead,
Yep.
so.
No, I get it.
rather
well,
than-
this way it doesn't take I don't know where we're going to come out, Al. I think it's a valid point.
Yeah.
But right now it's scheduled in the numbers for all of that to be contributed next year and no impact this year. So if it's deferrable a year, we may want to circle back on that. Let's find out if we have any other issues that we want to spread out. Can we
You want to
continue
revisit?
this? Yeah, I want to.
Okay, well, we're not talking
if
money,
we'll-
dollar amounts.
Right, if we're
Yeah.
all agreeing, well, I think so far we don't have any quibbling on the dollar amounts. I'd like to hear the dollar amount quibble, but this looks like it's all 116 for next year. So,
Nope, it's for 2021, not for
Correct.
1920.
Not for 19
20.
and 20.
right, so it's 0 this year. So,
Correct.
Right.
Wondering what the funding will be from town council, it's usually well below what our
Yep.
recommendations are. I think let's double back on it, Al, if you want at the end, but let's go through and see what's the
Okay.
impact here. And I'm just gonna make a note that it's new and deferred. Okay. Yep. You want to do fire rescue first? first, or are we doing?
We already did that. We'll do
Let's do the
police, which is on pages 13, and then dispatch, actually it's 13, 14, 15, dispatch is 16.
So we're starting at 13.
Correct.
No priorities.
So we can establish one.
Well, yeah, it seems like the form we're using for vehicles doesn't really have a priority box, but.
I think it's following a policy of 10,
Yeah.
every 10. I think that's what we kind of adopted years ago.
Yeah.
One for one. When one goes out, a new one comes in.
Right, the replacement, just
Cycle.
like it was in public works,
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
replacement vehicles
Yeah.
that can support, we had the cost of them. And so I would look at that as a U.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a 2005 Crown Vic, which can be exchanged.
And this is one where I've heard there's some kind of a police vehicle fund that's available that is used to finance vehicles through municipal money that's received by the town on different, what do they call them, when the police go out and do flagging.
Mutual aid.
No, it's flagging.
Right,
It's
okay.
Oh, detail.
Detail. They-
Yeah.
So, and that's specifically for vehicles?
I believe that was what I was told, yes. So we need to verify that.
Good point, Diane, because I think when we went over fire and rescue, that in theory, I thought if our ambulances were.
I'm not talking ambulance.
Mhm.
No, I know.
But we do, we
fire
get-
and rescue,
We
which
do
would
get
cover
revenue.
already.
We do get revenue.
I think there's a fund there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ambulance, is that what they call it?
Well, yeah, we get revenue from surrounding towns. But we do Newfields, I think, for example.
Different
Okay,
dispatch.
that was the other one.
That's the only
right.
one.
Vehicle, fund, okay. and
Oh,
this
that's-
is an ambulance fund?
Yep.
It's quite a bit of money, I think.
All right. So, right, which was you. So dispatch is page, what did I have in here? Oh, 16. And again, we don't have a rating.
Page
It's
14 is
16.
the other police vehicle.
Yeah, those are project forms that show the vehicles that are gonna be replaced in this current year.
Oh, okay. So they're not really separate. I got you. So 13, 14, and 15 are all related,
Police.
with just more detail.
That's correct.
Okay. So the only other one is dispatch.
Which is 16.
So if I can note, we should probably move 13, 14, and 15 to the vehicle line.
Right. That is correct.
Keep that as a U. And dispatch, which again, I believe Newfields is back to contributing.
Yep.
So there is some, I don't know if it would be considered a fund or revenue from Newfields.
The thing that confuses me a bit on this one is, take the antenna on Great Hill, for example. He's giving it 13 years. Why are these not prioritized as well?
Because we didn't ask them to.
We didn't ask them to prioritize what?
The individual pieces of equipment.
So I got what you're saying. So equipment is not a priority. I got you. So that's the deal.
Not that it's not a priority,
Not
it's
that
just
it's-
it's not
Okay,
part of
gotcha.
the rating system.
Okay, okay.
Well, at this point, there's
Gotcha.
nothing that's gonna be replaced, so we're just putting in where in the two other vehicles, we had items being
Gotcha.
recommended for replacement.
Yep.
We're still putting money away based on the depreciation of the current assets, but there's nothing urgent that's required this year of that. So I would agree this would be an N.
Wait a minute, where are you?
I'm looking at the,
Dispatch, right?
yeah,
We'll change it to N.
Okay.
At the very top of the second page. It's on page 16.
Yep.
page 16 by itself is dispatch.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So we need to keep dispatch going, but it's not urgent because there's nothing really required. We need to put away money if we can, but there's not an urgent need to say we need something this year. At least that's not on the side. Okay. Now, also, I think dispatch is another one that has, we talked about some source of outside revenue.
So
From
from the
Newfields,
town of Newfields. Yep.
possibly other. Okay, going along with your, pretty much done with the short ones, other than if you want to do recreation.
Planning. Would you like me to leave?
Don't you dare forget.
What,
Can we
planning?
talk about planning?
I think it's important to keep our planner being happy with us and supporting our committee, so I think this is an urgent need. What do you think?
Well, she identified it as necessary.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think it's necessary.
Well, I thought
Thank
I
you.
would, I would think that would be,
N is fine.
Necessary is fine.
Absolutely. Recreation, which is on 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 6, 1 through 6. This is another one where we have the revolving fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that special.
That
community
special-
Recreation fund.
What did they call it?
Enterprise.
Community
Enterprise.
Recreation.
Is that they put that in the enterprise? Is that right, Diane?
They call it the recreation revolving fund, but it is an
Good.
enterprise
Oh,
fund.
okay, I wish they'd use the
And
same
then there's a
language.
section.
And then there's a community recreation fund that has a very narrow purpose and
Right,
has to be
right.
matched.
Right.
And in our
It has to be.
understanding, it was my prior understanding, unless it's changed, that the goal was to have the revolving fund pay for
Right.
100% of the programs that are put on, and that the senior staff of the recreation department was paid out of general tax money, but
Right.
the programs were self-funded. And I just want to validate that that's the case and
Yeah.
ask the question that if we are as successful as we have been, should this be used to either substitute for
Well-
drawing down capital or possibly even paying for staff?
The question is there any money left over in that revolving fund that was not spent on the programs themselves?
Yes, in theory there has been. Because part of Amy's recommendation, I think there was, what's this, the fund balance of?
It's for the splash pad. She said $100,000 from the enterprise fund.
Yeah, there's currently.
If it's matched.
$162,000.
By the grant?
No.
No?
Well, yes, it has to be matched.
Right.
The grant requires that it be matched with local funds, so that's where the match would come from. You're correct, Judy.
Yeah.
Okay. So master plan is in, and you don't have a master plan fund that we want to give you, so unless you're shaking Steve down for loose change or something. Okay. So if we're done with master plan, we're now in skateboard park, shade, and rain shelter. Shall we go?
so two.
Wait a minute.
Let's go in order of one first.
One, yeah, where's one?
Okay,
One is the vehicles.
Skateboard park. Oh, you want the vehicle first?
Well, that's page number 1.
Yeah.
That's page 1. You're absolutely correct. So she,
Skateboard park, page 4.
Right. But either way, it's 1 through 6, so you wanna go in order of Diane's sheet and do the skateboard park first?
Sure.
okay, sure. Page 4? So the dollar amount requested 17.5. She has a priority on her form of U for urgent. And it's not gonna pass inspection. The skateboard park. We're not talking, we're talking about the skateboard park.
Oh, the skateboard park.
I was gonna say, how do you
Sounds like
take a
they inspect.
skateboard off the
Yeah,
road?
they're-
They have inspectors?
Okay, sorry, skateboard park.
So
All right,
15.
Sorry.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so is it a U, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I believe when we saw the pictures, and Amy gave us a supplement as well, and it looked like it was kind of bad shape.
Yeah, so,
And kids use it and for both safety and long-term
Well,
use.
safety wise, yes.
I would agree with the U, and it looks like Amy has spread the cost over everything she can, from grants to enterprise fund to fundraising. So I'm fine with continuing to say that's a U. And the number we should be picking up, I would think, is the 17.5, right? That's a sheet.
Mhm.
yep. Okay, the shade and rain shelter is page 2, and she has it identified as an N, as necessary.
Okay.
I would put that as a desirable.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
I would too.
Arrow 1.
Only one?
Now, I have a note on this page where I think Amy said that the revolving fund was paying for a resurface of the,
Is that the parking?
But that's,
That's a
we-
parking.
that's,
is that the parking?
yeah,
No,
but
parking
that's not
lot's a
the
different
shelter.
project. She's talking about the
Yeah,
basketball
but
court
she's-
area resurfacing.
Oh, yeah, for
Is
the
that-
pickleball.
Part of this project?
No.
No.
She-
No.
Well, that was sort of the point of my first question is, the item we just went over has 4 or 5 sources of funds, which includes the enterprise fund, grants, fundraising, and the capital fund. Amy made mention of something that since she is paying for out of the revolving fund, the resurfacing of the basketball area is not even a capital project because she's not asking for capital funds. Though it is a capital project, she's funding it outside.
Well, it would,
100%.
the cost of it would put it into a capital category, but it's not capital funding for the source of funding, so
Right,
it's
'cause
not a
she's gonna
capital
use the
project.
enterprise of the
Correct.
revolving fund for it. So that's sort of an example of one of those things that says, well, it's really a capital project. It's a project like many of the other projects. It's just, doesn't have a sheet by itself because 100% of it's funded outside the capital improvement program.
And the funding for that can only be used for this project?
No, the revolving fund is one of the questions we have and how it can be used.
Then it should be
Yeah.
included. Because this is a matter of, if I'm understanding you correctly, whether this is a priority in the use of the capital reserve trust fund. Is or is not.
Right, and since we want to get the answers of how all those funds mix in with capital, having all the projects that we need, I think is excellent. So having this one missing, I'm glad Amy spoke about it. Having it 100% funded out of revolving is why it's not in the CIP program at the moment. Where I think it should be a project and then show it's 100% funded out of revolving if that's the way it is.
She is looking to fund this canopy out of CIP.
Right, the
That's what she's
canopy,
looking
yes,
to.
with the resurface
Paving.
of the.
Resurfacing under enterprise.
Yeah, that's
But what's being suggested is that maybe this should be out of the revolving fund as well.
Well, the resurfacing?
No.
No,
No, the
Cover.
permanent shade, yeah.
the shade.
Well, it's necessary, it's over time. This may be, I mean, that's the
All
whole
right,
point.
so there's a question mark.
Right.
All right.
And I don't know if it's worthwhile to put down the paying for the resurfacing. Should, you think that's capital or operating?
Well, it's gonna be over 10 grand by the time they do it right, so, I mean, it falls into the capital. Well, no, it doesn't fall,
No, it
so it does
doesn't.
not fall, into-
$50,000.
no, it's not a capital project, it'd be an operating type, sorry.
Operate, yeah.
It's not equipment, so it won't be over 50 grand.
So just leave it, okay, I got you. And it's paying out of the revolving fund because it's a program-related expense for the basketball
Okay.
program.
So the need is N?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
The what?
N.
I thought you changed that to D1.
I thought we just
D1.
changed it to
Is
D.
it, okay, we're talking about the shade?
Yes.
We just
Sorry.
changed, yeah.
Okay, D1. Everybody
Yep.
on board with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Electronic signing is on page 3.
She's got it as the D, that makes sense to me.
I would say, I mean,
Or you're going,
well, some of the descriptions are a little difficult. I mean, I know that she's done some work looking at different signs, but I mean, I don't think it's a major priority for any means,
I agree.
you know.
So is it a D1 or a D2?
Well,
Say D2.
D2, yeah.
Or an E.
Or an E, you know, even,
E is, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
I
don't
mean-
think it needs more research, planning, and coordination. I just think it generally supports our goals, but it can kind of be put on the back burner.
Yeah.
Yep. So
or
there's a
it's another,
deferral.
yeah, or it's
The
another
last thing we
one
need
that
is
maybe
another
come out of
flashing
the
sign in
revolving
town.
fund.
Well, she said the
Yeah, I-
installation would come out of the revolving fund.
Well, this is,
Sign.
yeah, this is the whole, you know, this is the left-hand right. We're all agreeing it's a D2 at the moment?
Yep. Splash pad.
It's desirable?
D2 is
Uh,
desirable.
Get to be placed on
Desirable.
hold,
Yeah,
and hold.
right,
Okay.
and the question would be, if it's that important, maybe it could be fully paid out of the revolving fund and not the
Where-
capital fund. Okay, we're all on the same page.
Yep.
All right, so.
Splash pad, which is page 5.
Two.
And she has an N as necessary.
And this is the one that is
Mhm.
grant related, is that correct?
Yeah.
She received a $200,000
This is the
grant.
one that she's looking, it's $399,000 cost. Grants are gonna take up 50%. 100,000 from the enterprise fund, some impact fees, and then 77 grand only out of the capital reserve. And I know this project's been on.
No, it's been on for 3 years
Yeah,
at
it's
least.
been on for 3 years, and it's something they think would be really great for the kids and stuff, so I have no problem keeping it within N. We have an urgent.
Dependent on
schedule.
funding, grant funding.
Okay,
I mean, to me,
Well, if,
you know,
Project's
She needs to have the
100%
grant
based
funds
on
to
grant,
do
if the
the
grant
project.
doesn't come through, we can't do the project.
right,
right.
Yeah.
but if,
And right now, we're in the 98, 99 percentile of getting it, so.
yeah.
okay.
We're calling it
And,
N. Okay.
and if we want to get that sophisticated, I think Judy raises a point, though I think they may come with other ones as well, that we just want to say N and in parentheses, grant dependent.
Yeah.
The last one is two vehicles that are on page 1 and page 6.
It's actually 3 pieces of equipment, and she just wants to replace 1 vehicle this year.
Bus,
Because
page
her,
1 and page what?
page
Page
1,
1 has the
Oh,
3
and-
pieces of equipment with
Right.
the 2004 cargo van.
And then the pickup truck is on another page.
Yeah,
Well, the details.
6 is the pickup truck. The discussion we had on, and I don't know what priority, the Ford cargo van.
sounded to me that it was pretty urgent for their
Yeah.
department,
Yeah.
for their
They
operations.
took off the road, right.
Because the other one was taken off the road, and she's using her personal vehicle to haul this stuff around.
And that would be number 1, not the pickup. We're talking about the,
Passenger van?
No, we're talking about, well, their equipment includes all of them, but this year she wants to replace the cargo van.
correct, that's on page 1, and then there's a
Correct.
page 6 that talks about getting a pickup truck for the rec department.
That's the replacing the cargo van. It's the same project.
Oh, is it?
Yep. I called her on that one.
Okay.
I called for clarification, but I called her on you.
Called her.
And she very promptly responded.
That's 21.
Anyone that's confused?
No, she's got 3 pieces of equipment.
Well,
She's
she has
saving.
the outdoor digital signage, which I thought we did
That's-
as a separate item.
Yeah. No, she's got a,
She's part of the equipment request because it's equipment.
Okay.
And a sign is a piece of equipment.
You're gonna have to listen to these guys, man.
So we've already covered the signage thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue here that we talked about is it's not necessarily a vehicle that's needed 100% of the time, but there appears to be no availability from other departments.
This is for the pickup truck.
Right.
Right.
It's to
But we
replace
have
the
pickup
cargo
truck.
van.
Right.
They're the same project.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
6 is to replace the cargo van that's no longer even listed.
No. She wants to replace the cargo van with the 2011 Ford used pickup truck, which is also number 6.
So basically, it's listed twice.
Correct. She has it in her equipment list, and she provided a picture of it for us.
On page 6.
Right.
Okay, ignore page 6.
So as Diane has noted, 1 and 6 are the same.
Right. So basically, with the passenger bus at 68.7 and the cargo van, the pickup at 10, or basically $11,000.
Right. And the question we discussed at that point was, is there availability of a pickup truck to
Right.
be used
From
for her needs from another source within the town? Or do they need a separate pickup truck?
I have a brilliant idea.
Sure.
The school wants a pickup truck with a
Yeah.
plow, which they will not use in the summertime.
So they need to use.
Actually, we
this
will be using it. The
I
plow we
know.
won't be, but
Is
we haul
another-
mulch.
Yeah, I know.
Furniture.
Little town expenditure.
A little light.
Truck's been purchased too.
No, I don't think it's light. I mean, we're sharing facilities directors and finance directors.
I have no problem if someone wants to borrow the truck.
Okay. Can we throw that in as a, I think Judy makes a great suggestion, especially since it's rec department related, which is,
They own part of the
Educational.
land. They own part of the land.
I think rec department's education is.
it is on school grounds.
Okay, and that can be a recommendation that you make to the town council when you present
If
the
it's,
plan.
yeah.
If it's available.
Yeah, if it's a shared asset.
sign to say where all the trucks are in the town.
Can school, I'm just making a note, so it's can school and rec share pickup truck?
And we just made a purchase on that pickup truck for the school.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit bigger than what she has there. Actually, it's
But
quite a
she
bit.
wants it to haul the whatever those things are,
Yeah,
that she,
tracks.
that she puts the bikes and
Yeah,
the kayak rack on.
truck that we just purchased, well, we're just waiting to close on it, is a 3/4 ton, full-size extended cab long bed with a plow. So it's a big truck.
Yeah, well, then
But-
we'll pull,
Yeah.
You can handle it.
I'm delighted I raised the question. I'm delighted you came up with an alternate solution
you know.
rather than two pickup trucks. Okay, it's a good question. I think it's one that's worthwhile.
So, what are we gonna label it as?
Good question. Is that urgent?
I would say
It's desirable.
Necessary?
Necessary.
I would put it as necessary. I recognize that we may be using our own trucks and vehicles.
I'm going to go to schools. Page 18, start there.
We'll move along.
It's 3 o'clock.
And this was one that, there was a slight modification on the spreadsheet, correct? There was a typo on it. Thank you, Mr. Miles, for bringing that to my attention.
It's-
I make those daily, so.
I had 7 for it, it should be 8 for it.
Okay.
And it's because I did include 5100 for the
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay, so on page 18,
Yep, and that,
we're going down to the school on page 18, which is a C.
which
It's not a
is
priority.
compulsory, I bet.
Yeah.
So I would say that's urgent.
Okay.
These are the bond payments.
It's already,
The other,
it's already
I
funded.
know, it is the bond payment, but,
Yeah.
Okay.
so we'll change it to urgent. Is everybody okay with
Yeah.
that? Both the high school and the elementary school?
Right, but this again doesn't require a
capital
capital.
and, yeah.
It's already funded.
Yeah,
It's
it's
already
already funded, it's,
Right.
yeah, technically it's.
It's done deal.
It's here,
It's a done
but it's
deal.
done through the bonds.
Right.
And, yeah, fine. I'll reiterate, I think raising all the capital projects regardless of the funding source is a critical part of how it's funded. In this case, we have a $39 million bond. Okay, done.
High school roof?
So we have the roof on page 20.
You and you for the first two, and high school roof replacement, which is the only project so far that's outside bond scope. That we'll get into some more.
And again, this isn't capital, right? It goes through bond, it goes through a warrant.
Mm-mm.
Well, yeah,
Capital.
the answer is, it is
The
capital.
capital, but
What the school does differently than the town puts its total contribution to capital in its operating budget.
Right.
What the school is required
Is
to
a
do
warrant.
is to have a warrant
Right.
article to raise the funds,
Yeah.
but it's not a bond. It would be
Yeah,
raise funds
yeah.
to contribute
It's
to
not
capital.
taxes.
right,
Or in the past, they've used, let me take whatever surplus we have,
Right.
if we
Right.
have,
Right.
and contribute.
right.
So, I think necessary sounds like it's.
It is necessary to do. It's having issues. It's also past its life expectancy by 1 or 2 years.
Okay. We're
Maybe
having
more than
that fully funded this year, but not, you don't think it's needed to be done until another year or two?
We'd want to do it next summer. I can't do it this time of year anyways.
So is the 167 that we're showing in 1920, I guess that's the right place for it?
It would be, yeah, because it'd be a July 1st funding of that project.
Okay.
So we'd go out to bid in probably beginning of May with an award pending approval of the school budget.
Yep.
And you
Which
still
will
say
have been
you're
done in
comfortable
March.
with an N versus a U based on the discussions we had, or is this one that you would say?
It's a necessity. I don't I don't like to call too many things urgent unless it's life-threatening and things like that personally, but,
Okay.
it is a net,
And then leaning towards a
Necessity.
U.
yes, thank you.
All right.
I couldn't get it out.
You're
You
being
got it out.
perhaps slightly more realistic than some of the other U categories, but yeah.
I do not comment on said comment.
Okay. Number 4 is the accounting system, which is on page 21.
Which we've already been told is not something that can be shared with the town. As separate requirements.
And they have it identified as a needed
Necessary.
expenditure.
It is a necessary expenditure. This system is not, this particular software we have in place is not well supported at this point, and it's dated. So it becomes one of those things where we're getting to the point where we can't get technical support, the updates, because they're no longer available for this
Right.
particular software we're using.
I'm just curious on this one, Greg.
Mhm.
Why was this not submitted by Lisa?
I've been asked to handle all the capital requests.
So she didn't present?
She did not present. Meredith does the presentations of this. I do the,
This was the handful of projects that were outside the bond.
No, I know
Right.
that.
no, I kind of handle those things for them. So, Lisa identified the need. She did some of the research on costs. I put together the package. Meredith does the initial, does the presentation, and I answer the questions.
And this is one that, if I'm looking at, we're not asking for funding for 2 more years.
Correct.
So, though, since you questioned necessary versus urgent, I wouldn't necessarily classify this, I would say it's necessary, but not for a while.
I'd say it's a necessary to if you want to go a D1, it will be necessary no matter how we look at it.
Right.
This is setting up that funding source going forward, so we know where it's coming.
I'd say necessary but deferrable is really
Well,
what you're
but the
saying for a
budget
year or two.
shows that it's deferrable,
Yeah.
because it's not gonna be paid for
Right.
2 more years.
Yeah, so
So-
how do we want to rate the priority, deferrable? Or
No, it's
necessary?
deferrable for 6 years, this is only 2 years.
Oh, okay, I got you. So keep it as an in?
I would keep it as an in.
Yeah, and anyway, this is, it has to be listed for them, if I'm correct, in order to access impact fees.
Well, they
Gotcha.
have to do their plan,
Right,
that's correct.
right.
And we're not putting a burden on this year's capital.
Improvement, which is a separate fund.
All right, the next
So
one is
just
the-
one more question on this. So this would be implemented when?
2021, 21, 22.
I don't get it. When,
We have built-in obsolescence of the current accounting system. Someone is nice enough to say, we're not going to support it in 2 years, and probably very little now. There's a replacement system we want you to buy, and we don't have to buy it today. We can put it off for another year or two and
Correct.
cobble by with the existing system. But that's got a built-in obsolescence. They won't support it after.
Unfortunately, all of them do.
but I'm gonna have to think this one through. This isn't making sense to me. The new accounting system that we just put in for the town, we put it in this year.
This is a
Correct.
different.
this is for the school.
I understand that. I understand that.
We asked the question, could they share? And the
I understand that.
Okay.
And what we, in my opinion, what we should be doing for the town software and the school software is we ought to be planning ahead 6 years or whatever time period to fund that when it becomes necessary. Is that correct?
Well, I think I know where you're going with that, and I'm not disagreeing that
So I
putting
don't-
funding away in 1920 and 2021 to had that in reserve for those times, but, remember, the school budget isn't handled the same way when it comes to capital.
No, I understand all that. So we had to put in the town software system because it wasn't gonna be supported anymore. That's my understanding.
Correct.
We had no choice. It's not.
Which is the same thing with the school.
When is it no longer gonna be supported?
They tell us within a year and a half to 2 years it won't be completely supported. So that's right in that same target range.
Well, I'd really like to talk to Lisa about this. I'm not gonna hold up on it, but
She also feels there's no way that she could implement another software system right now while they're in the
no,
middle
no,
of
I get
implementation
all,
of a-
I get all that. This is handled differently than the town was. The
Right.
town said, as of this date, we can no longer do it. And so therefore, we had to do it over 2 years.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask the question once more of Lisa, is this something that's not gonna be supported in a year or two, therefore we have no choice?
Correct, that is correct, that is
Yeah,
100%.
right.
In about a year and a half to 2 years, it will not be
Are you
supported.
sure?
Yes, she
That's
was
why
very
that-
clear on that.
Yes.
Well, she did present it.
Yes. Yes.
Meredith presented it.
Lisa didn't present it. Meredith presented Lisa's findings. And the fact
Gotcha.
that the new system is so big,
Gotcha.
you wouldn't need it.
Gotcha, okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Okay? Stepping in,
Okay.
okay?
So it's planning to put that, knowing that that need's gonna be there. And since we go out 6 years, when I wrote up the capital request, that's how it comes up.
So why are we putting away $10,000 a year after that?
Because it's considered equipment and we still have a $10,000 fee every year.
Right.
So that's a-
And building, it becomes obsolete in 5 to 6 years. So here we go again.
So this system's gonna be obsolete in
Well, in general, computer systems or computers are obsolete in a number of years, so you didn't have to go back and do it again. So you want to have money in the bank so that you don't get hit with a huge fire truck in 1 year.
Okay. I don't have an opinion on
Look,
It's done.
no, I'm not. I recognize people are making judgments as to when the funding should start on this and how much, and it would be nice if everything was 1/6
Yeah.
or 1/10. I don't have a problem with people saying we don't really need to fund this year. Let's have other projects take
Yeah.
priority. Are you okay, Al?
I'm gonna approach it from a school board, just so as a school board member, I can
Okay.
understand it, because
That's great.
it doesn't make sense.
We approached it from asking, can we share
Yeah.
an accounting system?
Oh, I
The
understood
answer
that.
is
Yep.
yeah. Super. So we're gonna keep this one as a N,
Okay, we're gonna move on to the school,
and that's fine, I wanna hear all the comments.
elementary school floor replacement, and that's item on page 22, and it's been identified as a D. Unclear if it's a desirable or deferrable.
Is it
Right, so
desirable?
Oh, yeah, oh,
Okay, so
carpet
it's a
in,
D1.
puke.
So I guess the question is just.
Public
committee
health, is that
agree with
public
that?
health hazard?
But the replacement will be carpet.
No.
No, pot tile.
Okay, good.
Is everyone on
Right.
board with that, D1?
Yep.
Moving on to page 23, the school department POS, point of sales.
Correct,
And it's a necessary expenditure.
it is.
And,
Although it's getting to be a, when we talk about the U, it's kind of getting closer to the real U side of it right now because the existing system is crashing pretty consistently, so this may have to be pushed up.
POS being the cafeteria.
The cafeteria
Point of
point of
sales.
sale systems.
Yeah.
So there's hardware and software that's in that, and that's why it's a $10,000 expenditure.
It's pretty specific to the cafeteria, though. It's not
It is
cell
only to the
phones or-
Yeah,
cafeteria.
you push a button, it says egg salad.
Yeah.
okay, so is
So,
everyone on board
make it
with
an
N?
N.
As I mentioned, just be aware that we are struggling with it right now, and it may have to get pushed ahead because of that, but that again would probably come out of the school's operating budget at that point.
Okay. And then the pickup truck, we just
You just
We
got
did
that.
that a few minutes ago, right?
Yeah,
Already
the pickup
have it.
truck, I found a 2011, because I didn't want to buy new, because we can't get the mileage out of it. 2011 F-250 3/4 ton stainless steel plow blade extended cab with 43,000 miles on it. For 24,400 was the ultimate price, all ready to go.
Great.
I know 2011 was what Amy was looking for.
Yep, for the truck.
For the truck.
Yeah.
She's looking for a regular,
Pickup
150.
truck.
she's looking for a non-four-wheel drive,
Right.
yeah.
Well, the 150
And a half
is
ton.
four-wheel.
F-250.
Up to, it's not a 450, but I know those exist too.
There's 550s also, and 350s.
All right.
And that's broken down because that's the payment amount based on financing.
Yeah. Did you finance it?
Yes, that's what we're doing, yes. That's why I haven't quite driven it here yet, I'm just waiting to close up on the financing stuff.
Is there a need to make a foot?
What's that?
I just want to.
It's, it is blue. Sorry.
So that's already required by school,
Yeah.
and that's the one we're
Yeah,
talking about.
You had to borrow in the summertime,
And
throwing down mulch.
is that? what page?
That's it. And then we got water and sewer, that is
Can you hold off until I
Yeah.
finish
Sure.
getting Amy's set up?
facilities.
We've been asked by the, you want to take a
We
5-minute break, Diane?
No, I just want to give her the marked up sheet so she can join us.
We haven't done
You're welcome, my pleasure. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
But then there's,
Okay, so what did you do while I was away?
What we're saying is that number 24,
Yeah,
we're at an N for 23.
correct.
And 24, we're saying this is potentially, it's already been acquired, and this is the pickup truck that
Yep.
may be able to be shared with.
that's
one.
right.
Okay, and what's the classification for?
I'm assuming it's got to be a U, because it was a C, and we already acquired it, so.
You
let's
just kind of
assume
have to make the payments.
it was such a deal.
It was an
Okay,
absolute
So it's
excellent
okay.
deal.
So are those numbers
that's
gonna stay the
urgent.
same, the
You get
5,100
paid.
over?
I'm actually, what we're waiting for is we got 3 banks competing on the financing, and I'm trying to get it a lower payment, which would actually drop that. So once we get the actual payment, the next one that you would see would be the one adjusted to the whatever the actual payment is.
Are we acquiring it on a lease purchase agreement?
We're doing it on a purchase.
Do we,
I'm trying to do a 4-year financing on it.
is that what we do with all our vehicles?
what is a purchase?
No, it's not a lease purchase. Lease purchase, you lease it to the end when you pay $1 or
What's
whatever.
purchase? You just outright purchase?
You just outright purchase
Oh,
it.
okay.
But then we have a bank loan.
Yeah,
We do have we'll have a bank note on this truck.
Is that what we do on the rest of our vehicles?
We don't have any school department
Is
vehicles.
that what we do with the rest of our vehicles for the town?
I think the town pays for them outright.
Why don't we?
In our case, it's more cash,
Well, it is in the case of the town as well.
so
Is
But
this
in-
breaking new ground where we end up?
no, actually, we're not breaking new ground. As Rick mentioned to you in his presentation, that they may have to go financed for a fire truck.
What about a pickup truck?
Pickup truck, I don't believe he finances any of them at this point, but I think it does come down to some of the bigger vehicles, he does do some financing.
Right, I thought he did the lease purchase,
Yeah,
but the lease purchase doesn't show as a loan, it's a dollar purchase option lease where things are transferred at the end where it just breaks different accounting. I mean, you now have a bank loan,
So
a
you-
bank loan to a lease is really what
security
it,
interest is the truck. I would assume we're not giving up the rest of Newmarket as security interest for the truck. But it just strikes me as we have a bank loan, that's the first time.
Yes,
And we're paying interest rather than just buying a truck when we have funds to do it.
Well, in a lease purchase that you don't pay interest, you just don't.
No,
know
no,
how
no.
much.
I'm saying I believe what the town does is go to the Ford guy and says, I'll give you $30,000 and give it to him.
Yeah, for that, for the larger things.
No,
we do
for
with each
all
one.
of,
Okay.
for every vehicle, I think we just go buy it, just like you would. In this case, we're taking out a loan, and my question is, why are we taking out a loan?
And I think Greg also said, Rick came to us on the fire engine, saying we don't have the money, so we probably have to do it.
Yeah, but this isn't a fire engine, this is a $25,000 car. So, school board issue again, I guess.
This was approved last year from the school board.
Do a lease.
Yep. This is year two on the, well, we're in the year that it's to be purchased.
Okay.
So this was last year's budget submission to do it as a financed vehicle. That was approved by the school board. So this is, essentially, this is the first year, it's fiscal 18-19 purchase with the payment having to be carried forward every year, so you gotta do it in 19, 20, 21, 22, so that's what you're seeing there.
Okay.
So we're coming out with urgent on number 24, and the discussion has been a new way of financing.
I don't know if I'd say a new way, because I can't tell you experience before I got here, but I can tell you it's not unusual for municipalities to finance vehicles. Just because of cash outlays from their operating budgets.
Right, it just may not have been done regularly here.
Correct.
We've done lease purchase and purchase.
We don't have a reserve fund, we don't really need to borrow.
Okay, does that finish the school? Even though
Yep.
Al may have a question in the future.
Okay. So where would you like to go from here, Mr. Chairman?
What do we have?
Facilities and buildings.
Is there any, well, let me just ask a quick question. Does anybody want to spend a lot of time on water or sewer? With the specifics that are there in Sean's presentation?
I thought you did a great job.
Yeah, they've come a long way.
Okay.
Greg, do you have any issues from things that you are concerned about for Sean's water and sewer?
No, Sean and I work together quite a bit, so I feel very comfortable with Sean.
Yeah.
He has a lot of the same thoughts of way I like to do things too, so we work quite well together, yes.
Okay, well, let's see if we can speed through those two categories and take off a bunch then. So I would head there on page 31. We'll do sewer first, just to keep
Sure.
it
Can I mention to you that I had some problems with my Excel spreadsheet, so in that column that shows the page numbers, they all should be moved up one space, so that they coincide. Pretty sure.
So, let's see if we start at page 31.
Hope I'm right.
and we come out.
Yep.
So we're on sewer.
Sewer.
Yep. Except, oh, I take that back. The first one is Bay Road Improvements, which is a sewer project. Let me see if I can get a page number for you. It's, pumping station. You got 38 there? No, that's a water project.
Are you looking for the pumping station?
Yeah, did you find it?
The
35?
You've got a 36 and a 32.
Is it Creighton Pumping Station?
So 32 does.
Creighton is
wastewater.
30.
Yeah, that's equipment.
This is a
36
pump station.
36 is pumping station improvement.
Creighton
Okay,
Street.
Creighton Street is 35,
Right.
and I don't know why I have Bay Road Pumping Station.
35 is the wastewater pumping station. Yes.
Okay, I guess I need to figure out what
So we're,
the
So where should we be
Correct
now,
number
Brett?
is for the Bay Road.
I think you're starting to talk on, hold on here, let me just get back to, you're talking about, the, Creighton Street Pumping Station, which is page 35, which is equipment primarily.
And what happened to Bay Road Pumping Station? That's the one down there.
That has nothing across the line completely.
Yeah, but he was gonna get a grant, I thought, for that. Am I missing something?
I don't think there is a, Bay Road one.
All right, well, let me just put a question mark there for the time being. Could very well be. Okay, so let's go into vehicles. Which, as you pointed out,
Vehicles, wastewater, which we're saying
is
is
page 31.
project number 2 and page 31.
That's correct. I think it carried over from last year.
And there's no urgency for anything this year, just continued funding. Does everybody agree that's what we're looking at?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Grants and loans does not belong next to that 31.
well, plus it's not funded out of the CIP, it's funded out of,
Repairs. Yeah, but we still include it in
Right.
enterprise fund.
so I would, yeah, it just doesn't have a priority to it, so I would end up putting that as an
Okay. All right.
N.
N.
For vehicle sewer.
So they have to renumber all these in the final. Okay. So now moving on. So then we
Then,
have,
let's see if this 32,
let's go to Creighton Street Pump Station 35.
okay.
And then also was not given priority. And then anything to do with the pump stations. Is that right? Pump
Yeah,
station?
I would,
Is
I mean,
it
we need these to operate to get rid of waste, so I would say
Actually,
that's
it's an
necessary,
urgent
but
or-
it doesn't look like it's urgent, because there's nothing that's gonna be replaced this year. Does that make sense?
His soonest replacement listed there is 2020,
Okay, so we have.
which is,
20
the HVAC, line 14 in pump building.
For Creighton Street.
Yep.
Okay, 2021, you mean?
No, if you look at 20, year 2020, which would probably be 2021,
2021. That's the-
under line 14, under,
Oh, I gotcha.
it says HVAC 13.8,
Right.
acquired in 2000.
So that's unnecessary. And then other, you ready to go on?
So Peyton, Creighton Street we have as necessary but not urgent, that was 35.
Okay, 36
we have
is,
pump station improvements,
mhm,
which I'm assuming is your page 36.
yeah. And it's, all of these are necessary because they don't meet code.
Yep.
Okay. And then we get into the replacement of equipment on the new wastewater treatment plants.
Right, I
And
think
then-
that's
Sorry.
page 32.
And we have 4 sheets on that, including one in the packet I sent out, or I gave you,
So
that was updated.
page 32 is the first one.
And that's the boiler, that's critical.
So, right, WWTF1. So at this point, I'm putting all the projects down as necessary. Unless we find something that's more than necessary urgent, because I don't see.
So
There was
all
the
of
boiler.
The boiler was the only thing that was really critical, because it's a 1969 boiler.
And on that boiler, it is in very, very bad shape.
Yeah.
Just on page 32, which is the first pump station improvements, and the only thing with note of missing page number 2.
We have page number 2. Was that package I gave you.
32 is oil and everything else.
And everything else.
And then,
It's page number 2 is second page.
It's, remember there was a page missing?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I got copies to everybody?
Yeah.
And I thought I gave everybody a packet that has all the new pages. It should start off with Moody Point Water Main. The corrected version of it.
Yeah.
And one of the pages in that grouping should be the wastewater treatment number 2 category.
So,
Very last page, last page,
which is 59.
59.
There you go, there it is, Rebecca.
Nothing urgent, everything's way out. 2032, we're all still on.
Page number 2 is page 59, and page
Right.
number 1 is 32.
And I'm gonna read you all these numbers for the final minutes.
So, necessary? And no other comments? Then we have page 33, 34, and 37.
Did you do 15, 59?
59
Oh,
is
that's the
what
one we just did. I'm sorry. All right. 33, 34, 37.
The Master of Ceremonies gets confused by that. 59 is page 2 and 32.
Nothing new.
Okay. I'm, again, I'm comfortable with making it all ends and moving on.
Yep.
And we have the number 4, which is $6,500. And I assume that will be an N as well.
which one is it? Page what?
Page,
34.
Yes.
we're going down to 35,
Yeah.
And then
and we have 36.
37.
37,
Mhm.
which is, this is a sharing of the cost of this storage shed. Half of it will be paid for by water, half of it will be paid by
Mhm.
sewer.
Yeah, it's got an N on it.
Okay, I'm fine with,
And this is, this picture needs to be.
Yeah.
Greg, did you do the pictures for Sean?
No, I didn't do that one.
Okay.
That looks like that's a storage container that he's using.
Right, but in the other picture, he has some kind of building. You can't really see what it is, what it looks like. So I'm hoping for the final, we can get some.
What page is that one? I'm on
Page
37.
45 and 37 are
Okay.
the same project, but it's gonna be shared.
That's a
cost.
picture of the wastewater plant.
Okay,
That's the new, looks like the new plant. No, I'm sorry,
It's
I'm
hard to-
wrong. That is not the wastewater plant, that's a water, that's the building that, Sean had discussed with you about age and condition and something to happen to it.
reuse plan would be for that building,
What's that?
and what the reuse plan might be for that building.
Correct. Sean talked about that at at
Right.
his presentation.
Right, okay,
So that's a picture of that, showing that's where he's got storage.
alrighty. I can't tell what the picture is.
It is hard.
so do we get through sewer, or do we still have?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
Page 36 is N.
Yes.
The girl.
Use it.
Have we discussed the garage yet? we just got-
That's what we're talking
Okay,
about.
yeah.
So it's $100,000, 50,000 water, 50,000 sewer, and I believe it probably would fall into that same category if
Yeah.
necessary. Right.
Yeah.
And the water part would too, right? Okay.
The last one in the water department.
That's correct. Now, ready to move on to water?
Yeah, 39 through, well, we started 38.
38 through 44, Sean indicated those would all be funded with the bonds and grants
Yep.
that are available through the Drink the Water program with 20% grants. So it will not be funded out of the enterprise fund. So there's zeros in all those columns across the board.
Can we name the bonds and grants?
Yep.
Okay.
58.
And assuming if we have to put, I would put U's on most of these probably.
Yep.
It's not all of them.
Yep.
Is everybody okay with putting U's on the water supply? Okay.
And the vehicle is,
Page 58.
14,000 across the board, and that's page 58. Thanks, Judy.
In the supplemental package.
No. We're looking at all
Straight
of
down to vehicles.
the grants as a package. Pages 38 through 44. And they're all used.
And so if you had an old page 42, right? That's when we changed the verbiage on.
That is correct. And you saw my change.
Right. So excise the old 42 if you haven't from the package.
Mm-hmm.
What it was unusable, which is okay.
Oh, right.
Explanation. I would appreciate that.
Okay. You objected to that.
Avoid the whole thing.
I'm living proof.
You're still alive.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, that's good.
So we finish that one, or we still have the
finished water.
vehicles, water,
We have a
58?
vehicle of 14,000, he's been requesting that across the board for the last 5 years.
Yeah, not a problem. I'd say that's an end.
Page 58.
Page 58 is an end.
Page 45.
So we have all U's on all the water items having to do with names and replacements that are all
Yep.
covered by the bond, and 2 ends. On page 58, 45, vehicles.
58 vehicles was in.
Okay,
All right,
so,
so that leaves our favorite department, facilities.
I didn't know I was the favorite department.
You need to wake me up.
well, you have to, everybody
I'm
else
here
only
for-
has to suffer through one meeting. You have to suffer through the whole committee, so.
Yeah, I kind of got that. Let's see what's going on with that.
Rick, you want to talk about the ESCO projects first and get those completed?
Oh, God, where is
I
this?
went through and I tried to identify, and I think I got them all, but I want to make sure that I didn't overlook any.
ESCO list of
Yeah, there's two. There's the initial, and then there's the one with money on it. There's the one with money on it.
So, yeah, I noticed, just FY on the town generator transfer switch, which is page 52, is not an ESCO project.
Can I identify it as such?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, why don't,
Just make sure that there are any that I overlooked, and we'll identify it as such. Because those should be 0 across the board, right?
Right.
Yep, okay. So I have 47, which is the energy management plan for the improvements for the public works facility.
yeah, can we, I agree. Let's focus on getting the ESCO markings
Yep.
down and make sure they're all.
Okay. Want to go over that, 47?
Yep.
Okay, next one I have is 54, which
I
is the
just did something on my pages.
Wait a minute, let me catch up.
town hall. 51, 52, 53, 54. That's the town hall HVAC,
Correct.
is that correct? Okay. What about the roof, public works department?
So the roof is one of those things that it is kind of in limbo. It's something that needs to be addressed. We have it listed as part of the projects with the NESCO, but it is an item that does need to be addressed, which I think it's important that it's listed in both, listed as a regular project, not an ESCO, because in this case, we do need to fund to get that done. And if we fund it through capital, it comes off the ESCO as a project. If I can get it in the ESCO, that's a better, but I think it's one of those items that really needs to be kept as a cap project, because it's gotta happen.
Okay, so you want me to cross ESCO out,
There's no ESCO on the roof project.
the public works?
It says
Okay.
potential,
So,
All right.
are we starting from the bottom going up?
yes.
Yeah,
We're
we're just
right now.
identifying first the ESCO projects. And I
Okay.
think that's it.
There are three of them.
There are three.
Two, yeah.
Okay,
Two.
two.
Yeah,
47.
the
Potentially-
transfer switch that you have listed there is not an ESCO. That's not in
That's
ESCO.
page,
Gotcha.
That was page 52.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
good. So why don't we just start at the top of the list? Let's see, Beach Street.
The other ESCO projects were too small.
They don't kick into that $50,000 project line. So you wanna start with Beach Street? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Beach Street, sure.
We can do these in order of the package, so we don't only flip
Okay.
one set of sheets at the same time.
20. First one is page 25, Beach Street Building Improvements.
I missed the presentation on that, unfortunately, so Steve must have talked about it. And my question is, I went through, I infrequently see that building ever used. It just sits there. And has the town looked at that fact as it went through the CIP?
So, the building is used, not, you're right, it's not used infrequently is probably the best way. It is a rec department building to use. They lease it out or their own programs go in it. I know we've had some church services in there, we've had different groups, I think we've had a birthday party in there, things like that. That's what it's been used for.
So it didn't come up really as part of the discussion, as to whether.
For
we
the
should-
presentation, I did the presentation. So there is discussion about what is it becoming long-term, but that's still very beginning discussions. There's been talk about, having an Amtrak down Easter stop there. There's been other discussions, do you lease it? What can you do with the facility? So there are those discussions, but they're not in that depth of
We own
discussion.
the land and the facility.
We do.
It was given to us.
yeah,
No,
the building.
The
Yeah.
building
Where
was,
it
yeah.
used to be
That
the
was in
old senior
July
center.
of 2017, we took ownership.
regardless of parking, which I understand may be an issue, it's certainly a perfect location if we wanted to put a train stop in Newmarket. The question is, what do you use the building
Yeah,
for?
this is,
Whether it's to sell tickets, you raise it, you put in
this is,
something else.
it's probably a town council question,
Yeah,
Yeah.
as to why are you
Do you
putting
want
money?
to keep this, and what are you
Yeah.
going to do?
And I'll flip that agenda.
And
Okay.
chances
Yep.
of getting money right now for a train station are pretty remote.
No, and the question about putting $15,000 a year into something we don't actively use would be my question. But again, I'll flip that over to the town.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have to look at it as an asset and what it's gonna take
Yeah.
to bring it up to
Yep.
the levels that are necessary.
Yep.
What's the main difference between the Sunrise facility and the senior center facility?
The senior center is a facility that was run outside of the town.
It was gifted to the town
Oh.
recently.
so we took the building. The Sunrise Center is
It
part of the
was
rec
the
program
original
also, and
senior,
it's an active, I think 55 and over
That's used
program,
daily.
and that is heavily used.
And if we are thinking about down the line turning that into an Amtrak station, could we until then use that as the storage garage instead of spending $100,000?
It's not a garage, really.
It's
It's
a
it's a building.
It's got a large open room, it's kitchen, couple
But
bathrooms.
if it's not used a lot,
Yeah, but it's remote, I mean, the.
And it's
I
just
think the
it's a
water-
not, it's
It's
a
just a-
slab on grade, so you really wouldn't wanna pull much into it.
You couldn't.
Yeah,
It's
There's no
one
garage
story.
door.
it's a great question.
Yeah, just
It's just
trying to
not
save
set up, it doesn't have a big garage door or anything like that. You can get stuff in and out. Think of it as a meeting room with a kitchen and a bathroom.
Yep.
I mean, I've actually taken a yoga class in it, so, yeah.
It's actually a nice little building, it just doesn't get used a lot, and Al's right, it isn't heavily used.
Really not our discussion, but
Right, yeah.
it's just a question I had.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well-
last time we discussed, talk about the rating,
We're at 25 is the page, right?
page
Yep.
25.
Yep.
And
I
we're
have
saying that
D2 is what we discussed last time, which is deferrable
at least, yeah.
for 6 years.
D1 is what we had as a
Oh, okay.
desirable, but it's,
I have two
You can't-
arrows. I think we went back and forth on the discussion, so, okay, and I circled C1, D1, sorry.
yeah, I mean, you're not gonna, we got things like a heating system that's not gonna make it another 6 years,
All right.
but it's not a high-end type heating replacement, it's just a warm air furnace, so.
No,
But
if-
there's things that gotta be addressed.
I think we need to decide if we need to repurpose the building and the land. And assuming that we haven't had that discussion yet, I wouldn't necessarily want to throw money into repairing something that we may find we have to raise in 2 years or want to sell.
Correct.
So, if anything, I
But even,
put aside the capital contribution.
Yeah.
Before any serious money is spent in keeping this place up, we need to determine what its purpose is.
100%.
So
So,
can we move on to the next
D1,
one?
yeah. I guess
D1 is what I think we all agree to. So the next one is number 49 in the new packet, which is repaving and repair of the recreation center parking lot. And it was identified as an N for necessary.
That has been and still is page 49.
That is
Yep.
correct.
And it's deferred to 2021.
That is correct. You can see the big alligator crack right across the parking lot, so yes, it's in a
That's
state
just
of
one.
disrepair.
But it's not something that we have to jump on this
Right.
coming fiscal year, but it's something we're gonna have to address.
We said, which gets us to the end, but not so fast.
Correct.
Skipping over the next one, we're going to the recreation center roundhouse, which is item 50, page 15. Is one of the supplemental ones I sent you.
Yeah.
I will tell you, this particular structure is in rough shape. The roof is in very poor shape right now. So I would call some of it a U and some of it an N. The roof is something we probably really should be addressing if we plan on keeping this facility. Which I don't see, if we put some money into it, it could be very useful building.
what's in it?
Right now, they're using it for storage. It used to be a concession stand with bathrooms. It still has a concession stand and bathrooms, but due to the condition of the building, it's not being utilized as that.
Would we put everything back be serviceable?
I would, yeah. I think it's a good asset to have, especially when you have like tournaments down there where it becomes a fundraising opportunity for the rec department. School games, you hot dogs and drinks and whatever, so I think there's good opportunity for it to be a fundraising type facility, plus it puts bathrooms down at that end instead of porta potties. And right now, they're not really accessible bathrooms, so it does lend itself to doing improvements and being a value asset.
Greg, is that separate from the restroom facility that will be part of the splash pad?
Correct. That's, and they're about, what, 100, 120, 30, 40 yards apart from where they're gonna be.
Some can do it in 15 seconds, some can do it in 5 minutes. So it's good to have bathrooms on both sides.
So is this a recommendation from them?
No, this is part of the facility survey.
So a good question to ask would be of the recreation department. What do you see as its use? Is it an important thing for you?
Well, it's not just for rec. It's actually a rec supposed to be maintaining it. It's leased from, the property is actually school-based property.
Yes.
It's on school land.
But it's a rec, supposed to be rec property to maintain,
So,
or a town property to maintain, I should say.
so in terms of the value of the facility, who do we go to get an opinion as to whether it's something we should put money into or not?
That would be your facilities department that you have.
Right. Yeah.
But some, all right,
Are you talking about for users?
no, doesn't matter. No, I'm fine.
So, what you're saying now, that the roof is really bad, so, I mean,
That's the U part of it, I would say.
that which should be done this year, which is more than $13,000.
Nope. It's a residential type roof, regular asphalt
It's
shingles.
not that big a building.
It's not that big of a building.
Yeah.
It's a pretty straightforward roof job, barring finding anything like a lot of rot when they peel the roofs, the old roof kind of thing.
If you want to split something and it's, or you find with N or U for the roof and N
I
for
would
the
say
rest.
U/N, and we can discuss it at the town council.
Okay.
Fair enough?
I'm sure I can see the town council spending the 6 hours on the project list, but discussion. Especially since it's school property and a town building that it's maintained with the rec department.
Yeah, it's a town, I guess you'd call it a town building on school property. So, but it's used by the town currently. The rec department wants to use it more. And then I've had discussions with the athletic director. They would love to have a concession and more bathroom access out there.
So if you take the storage that's in there now out and restore it to its original purpose,
It still would have storage.
it still would have storage.
Yep, but you'd put your field storage in there.
Okay, all right. Say, what are
Baseball,
we gonna do with the storage that's in there now? Okay,
the batting cage goes in there and that kind of stuff.
okay.
Now we're saying is a U.
U/N.
United Nations.
United Nations, okay, can we move on? 30,
Police station.
page 30,
HVAC.
police station HVAC. Now, is that a ESCO project?
That is not an ESCO project. Unfortunately, I can't get a return on the investment to upgrade those systems in the building. And some of them have been partly upgraded. So some of the condensing units that are tied to these furnaces have been updated. So it's definitely a D1. And I'm looking at putting money away over the next 4 years to start working, to have the capital when we start looking at the 23-24 fiscal year to be able to have those funds to upgrade those HVAC systems.
Yep.
HAD. Oh. I gotta get better with my heating, ventilation, air conditioning.
Yeah, HVAC, HVAC.
Thank you. See, the world is filled with acronyms that we don't all know what they stand for.
Yeah.
So what are we rating this
I was
as?
thinking of a few right there.
Thank you.
I think we put that as an M.
What's
Or,
that?
no, D, did you say?
A D1.
D1,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
Okay.
And it's really to earmark putting those funds away so that we have the money in 2023-24 to do the upgrades.
One of the last ones in the group.
You made that a D1 as well.
I did. As we go forward to upgrading our facilities with the access controls and camera systems, this is just one of the other facilities that we're looking at. Police station, we're looking to do that also as going forward, but these are the projects, and this one came up to $46,000. I know it's not the $50,000 threshold, but it's pretty close, and felt that it should be in there.
And do we have adequate access control now?
There is, it's key operated.
Okay.
So this puts it in our same format that we have for our town and school buildings. Our town hall and school and rec center are all under the same
Okay. But
system.
it's not urgent.
It's not an urgent requirement, no?
So it's D1?
Correct.
Moving on to page 53, we have the town hall building improvements. And that's identified as N for necessary.
Correct. And this is getting our funding started as with like the HVAC, is getting that money to put away so that in 22-23 we have the funds to do substantial repointing of the building. It needs some now, but there'll be some small patching we'll do, which more service-based in the meantime, but this is to do a substantial job to it, as well as some parking lot repairs.
When we had this, I think we kept this as an N.
Yes.
N, yep. Next one is on page 52, which is the town hall generator and transfer station. And it's identified as a D, and it's not clear whether it's a D1 or a D2.
I don't think I wouldn't put it as D2 as deferrable. I have it as a D1 as a very desirable, because right now you have no asset protection and power failure for this building, which also talks about the servers that we have in this building, town and school side, access systems, all of that.
We don't have a UBS,
USB?
UST, under UPS.
UPS, excuse me. Jeepers, really, you're getting me all flustered on it. We have small ones on the server racks, but they only last about 20-30 minutes. And then after that, they're down. But keeping in mind, your access systems, same thing, your
So you keep the UPS in place, and then if you needed longer than 20 minutes, kick in the generator? Or?
No, the generator would start immediately, and it would be an automatic. And that, first thing, you want to keep the UPSs in place because they filter the power off a generator and send clean power to the electronic devices. Since the generator can rev up and rev down, it sometimes has a little bit of changes in voltages, so you really want to kind of stabilize that. And then this also would power our heating system, our lights, our cooling systems. And obviously I'm not as concerned about cooling in the summer. Heating in the winter is a concern, because if we go down for a couple of days, now you're looking at an asset issue.
So on the system side of thing, after 20 minutes, will you lose everything? Is that what you think?
Well, after 20 minutes, or as quickly as they last, as the condition of the battery at that, we are dead in the water.
Okay.
Well, you got backup
You
up
wouldn't
there.
lose it, you would lose the ability to use it. You
Correct.
wouldn't wipe out.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yep. No, it's not
It's not
killing the device.
electromagnetic
It's just
field.
giving you the ability to operate it.
You're not degassing it.
Yeah, here's one that I find particularly interesting, having worked on the school project as well as the town project. And we're not putting generators in the school systems, which is odd to me. We're not putting them in because it was decided that it wasn't critical. I personally disagree, but that's the way we went. And I look at 1,000 students, no power, food storage, and to approve this over that, to me, makes just zero sense. And this is where I think the CIPs come together as a community. They would not have done that before. So I think that this would be a good, healthy discussion. I would not support in any way putting this money into the town and not have it in school. Makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
I would say I agree with you 100% on the schools should have generators. They really should. I
know.
I agree. But the school and the town CIP are different presentations.
That's not the point, Greg. The point is that, one of the things we're working to on this one community concept is we're going to look at CIP expenditures, we're going to look at loans, we're going to look at debt service together. And I understand that the discussion about this separate. I mean, I've heard that for 83 years.
Well, even if it's separate, though, I don't know if this came from, you can always send the teachers and the kids home for a day or two if you have where the business of the town must continue. I don't know if that's where it emanated from. But are you saying the school missed putting on a capital project that should have said generators? Forget that it's not covered by the bond. You're saying the generators are not part of the bonding right now?
Well, you can look at it one of two ways. Either the school should have put it on as a priority, or the town should not. But my concern is that we may vote to pay for this and not have the schools done. So I can't answer your question, Russ, directly, other than to say it's backwards to me.
Okay, but just for clarification, I know we're on the building committee, but school building committee, but I don't remember every asset we have. We don't have generators as part of the school ad reno plan.
Right.
Okay. In either of the schools.
Right.
And separately, Greg and Town Hall are saying we need to be able to have, separate and apart from any school decision, a backup generator here to continue the town business and the computer should it go down.
Right.
Okay. I think that is a rational project for the town, since, and I wouldn't want to say that it's not rational for the town because it's just as rational for the school. The school should have it. If the school missed something here that says we haven't had this as part of the ad reno, it's not part of the bonding, but here's a capital project that we think is at least desirable for the school, if not necessary or urgent, to put in backup generators in both of them. I'd say it's a missed opportunity.
Let me try a different approach. I think one of the things the community is looking for us in the CIP is to wisely spend money for the community. And the community, if they ask me, why in God's name did you approve that when you didn't discuss during the CIP process the other need, I would have a hard time answering. That's what this is about. It's not a I would have the same discussion on any subject, a security system, for example. We're going to spend money on a security system on the town side and the school side. I think the CIP ought to be in a position to say, we had 1,000 students and vulnerabilities, and we see the security system in the school as being greater than that in the town hall, which is, by the way, what I think we did. That's my only point.
So would the school board have the opportunity at this point in time to add a generated system for the schools through their warrant articles?
It decided, apparently, through the CIP.
Yeah, but for the upcoming CIPs,
there is
the
an
school
alternate on the school project to put in the transfer switches
Not
for the schools.
Well, whatever you possibly need.
Yeah.
Would they have the opportunity for this year to go forward right now and say, we want to add this to the list? And it would be a school board decision, correct?
tend to think it's a school.
That's a tough one.
You know?
It's
It's a-
either
it's-
a school, part of the school CIP process, or it's a school board decision if that's something. I'm just trying to separate it from the
I am
town.
too.
Yeah.
I think if all things being equal, if the town feels it could use a backup generator rather than paying for an uninterrupted power source of
Mhm.
20 minutes, that's a valid discussion for the town.
Yep.
The fact that the school has chosen not to, either because with all the things going on, it wasn't here, okay, or it should be there next year, or it's not urgent to put it this year. I think that's a great discussion. I just wouldn't want to say, as you suggested, well, if we're not doing it for the school, we shouldn't do it for the town. And I'm just not looking at the town should be penalized if it should be a school project, let's make it a school
I
project.
agree. However, this is the only place those priorities can be identified. This is the only environment we have. We don't sit down as a town and a school and talk about salary increases and da-da. This is the only place it comes together.
Okay, well, and if what you're suggesting is that the CIP is one of its recommendations to the school, then I have no problem, including that, though it's not the town's business when we report to the town, is that they should seriously consider generators as a separate capital project. It's one they haven't provided us, but we're bringing it up as a question mark. Is that where your mindset is?
Again, I don't want to drive this any further. I just see it as a missed opportunity for
The school.
No, I see it as a missed opportunity for the community who's looking at the CIP committee, that's looking at both budgets, to be able to say, hey, guys, there's something here that looks a little odd to me.
I just have a question. Is it possible to make a recommendation that they start putting that as a CIP?
That's what I mean.
It could be a recommendation from the CIP committee, just to maybe open the door for dialogue about the issue.
I don't know.
My first reaction would be, just like we did with the facilities director and accounting, okay, and we're doing somewhat, from what I understand, with the security system, okay, even though there may be slightly different systems, we're coordinating. If there was the ability to get a generator or a contract to provide uninterrupted power source to both the school and the town, that should be leveraged together. Apparently, these are standalone generators that the town is saying, I could use a standalone generator to back up town hall. It's usually building by building a network.
Right, I mean under the school CIP recommendation.
Right. We're questioning only because the town is saying, we don't have one and we need one. Al's saying, I think we need one, but we haven't asked for it on the school side. Should this be a broader discussion?
Yep.
That people should be aware we're asking for a generator on one location.
And I'm not saying not ask one for the town, I'm just saying it should be recommended that
right.
the school
Recommend
gets
it,
that
we
on
just
the
keep-
radar.
I have no problem bringing it up, it's just an
Put it as
observation.
an observation, a recommendation when we make our report
Yeah.
to the town council.
Yeah,
and
the school
let
should
it
consider
go
doing
from there.
this.
Maybe the
I
town
think the
council
reason it
will
wasn't brought
embrace
up
it
as a
and
CIP because, and Al, correct me if I'm wrong, it was not
help
supported
happen.
during the school construction project bond and/or projects that were listed.
But there were
as
other things that
actually-
weren't supported during that process too.
So,
I mean,
and
the
even since-
windows, for example,
Yep,
you know?
Okay.
I mean, we are now considering doing that
Partially.
in this, partially, so many each year. Doesn't make any sense then not to be able to recommend other things that were not included.
oh, I'm not disagreeing,
Yeah.
I'm just giving my observation
Yes.
that I think it was, the reason that I didn't put it in, because I know it wasn't supported from the committee, the building committee, thus, and the school board. Because it was a discussion about that last year, about generators. Remember, I brought up, I don't understand why we're not putting a generator in at the schools, because they're large community assets, and power outages have a lot of effect to them. But
Well, it's also a safety issue.
Yeah, we have to do the-
Come, the kids or some activity is going on in the school
Okay.
later in the day after school,
This is now gonna be on this.
you're gonna shut it down
So maybe,
if they get a power outage during an event, you know, and you've got 100 kids in there doing,
Well, keep in mind, we do have full emergency lights.
yeah, good, yeah.
Can I put this on just hold for a second? I'm just trying to figure out, there's a meeting here at 5. We have another, if we need it, scheduled tomorrow between 4 and 6. I'm not sure whether we can finish this off tonight. Diane thinks we can administratively, but we haven't gone over the numbers, okay? The only important number is really what the funding is for this year.
well, what we have done in years past, we've gone through each and every request.
Right.
It's just for the fiscal year, in our case, it would be 1920, right? And how much money we would be recommending goes into the individual capital reserve funds. And we've always done that as a separate vote with the dollar amounts, and sometimes the dollar amounts were reduced, as was
Yes.
suggested by Mr. Zink earlier, one of the projects.
Yeah, I haven't heard much discussion on that.
What, money?
Yeah.
No, we haven't talked about
Well,
it.
we mentioned it only because it's missing from, or with the vehicles that we would put the same amount in to keep the fleet intended. But my question
There's a whole
is,
bunch of other stuff. Go ahead.
I do have to leave for work in about 25 minutes.
yeah, we're gonna,
That's when we're
the
supposed
meeting's
to
gonna
wrap
stop
up.
at 2. It looks like we may need to finish this off properly.
Say 4 to 6 tomorrow. Can you do it tomorrow?
I can.
You can, okay.
Okay, I suggest that we finish buildings and grounds and then go forward at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with the dollar amounts.
Okay, and when you say finish with building and grounds, we're talking
Well,
the priority ranking, not the dollar amounts.
right, the priority rankings, as we've been doing all through this.
Right. That's a good idea. I agree with you.
Yeah, because,
Okay?
okay.
Okay, so I think we've talked that one. Have we not? Let's move on to McAllen Dam, my favorite project, $50,000. It's on page 29. And I believe it's identified as a necessary project.
Although I suppose we could say that it's kind
Identified
of
as
urgent.
as
29.
compulsory, I believe.
Yes.
Well, it's required because we have a letter of deficiency from DES. So if that's urgent,
We've changed the Cs to use
we don't have
elsewhere.
Cs anymore.
That's right. So,
You wanna have it as a U.
yes.
Right. Stone Church. Stone Church. 56.
And I would agree with that. Keeping as a U, and, we're working towards getting a bond proposal together for the
Yeah,
potential.
yeah, I just gotta find the page.
It's gonna be identified as a
Well, yeah,
necessary
right.
project.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
Gotcha.
sure Mike would love us to.
Okay,
Yeah.
Stone Museum, and there's 2 projects, there's an exterior and an interior. And the exterior is on page 56, which is one of the new sheets you received today. And the other one is on page 51.
No, I haven't found it.
It was a 56 and 50.
You gave out the new,
56 is
the one you
page
gave out.
1 of this one. I have the
56,
56 and it says Stone Museum interior upgrades. It has a typewritten one and crossed out with the 56.
That's the one of the new ones that,
Okay, one of the new
Yeah, we
ones,
have
that got handed out today.
right, so
That's
51
interior.
I had
is,
that prior, so maybe that, the new package today was one. Yeah, it's in the new package. I don't know if it was updated or just repeated. The new package today
It's
includes.
51, that's the interior.
Yeah,
and 56 is the exterior.
right.
last time we were missing a form.
Yeah, I have the old 56, and the exterior is a separate sheet, and
Yes.
that's what we're missing.
Yes.
The old 57 was fire and rescue, and
This
I
is,
wasn't aware there
this
was
is the new 56, repairing, that's exterior. Repairing stonework around the building is an exterior improvement, right?
Correct?
The dollar amount is $92,500.
Correct.
Okay, so that is identified as an N for necessary. And that's the new form you got.
this 56 replaces this one. Where I have Stone Museum interior upgrades.
Right, that's the interior, that's not 56.
Just same picture, which makes it confusing.
It makes it confusing when you see the picture.
Okay, so this is 51.
51's interior, 52 is exterior. 56 is exterior, sorry. 51 is interior, 56 is
Confuses more than
exterior.
we're already confused.
Okay.
Next
had
year
a
I won't be
51
I'll put
before.
different pictures.
Please.
What's the description on it?
Description is
ADA?
access to
That's
building and
interior.
second.
This is
That's
the interior.
That's interior, which is what I have in my. 51 is the interior,
This
and
is
the
a
dollar
du-
amount is 10,007.
I have a duplicate
Right,
that was marked as 57 and is
Yeah.
now 51 in the package.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
The total is the 64,600 project cost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Up top on the right. Okay.
So this replaces.
okay, so.
And the new 56.
It's
the old 56 is
92,000.
51, and the new 56 is the new, and that's for the exterior.
Okay, so let's do the exterior, that's page 56, the new page 56.
Correct.
What I have here is N for necessary. Are you confirmed with that?
Yes,
Okay.
something we have to deal with.
Okay.
And the interior is a D1 and the exterior is a necessary. That was at least my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 51 is a D1.
Right.
D1, right, okay, perfect.
It's desirable but not required.
And necessary for the 56 exterior, 92,000. Okay,
Yep.
bring this home.
Okay, the next one is the fire department bunkhouse and facilities. It is on page 57, and it's identified as N for necessary.
And this is one you've seen continually for a while. Forever.
Yep.
And the next one, we're ready to go on, is on page 55, and it is the tin work on the town hall facade, and it's identified as urgent, because it's falling, right?
It's falling apart.
It could fall.
I don't think it's in danger of falling off the building, but
It's in the danger of becoming more expensive to repair if we let it go much further.
I can put my hand inside of it. Front side looks great though. They didn't paint the back side. So it kind of rusted out.
Okay,
Okay.
and the priority?
And the priority is urgent. And last but not least,
Public Works roof replacement.
which is on page 26, which is the new one received.
Today's stuff? Thank you for getting me organized with all these files here. Whoops. 56.
46.
Yeah, sure is. It's from here. Because I think I stole your packet. I think this is what it is.
I had a new packet that
Here.
I,
Boys,
42, 56, 57, 58, 59.
only one you can share with me.
Okay. We're cool.
Good.
Oh, but I did have an old 46. He said this was an ESCO potential.
And he said,
No, it's not.
Clarified.
Excellent. I got the old 46.
Okay, and that is a U for urgent.
And as I mentioned, I'm gonna try to get that into the ESCO project,
Mhm.
my goal.
Yeah.
But I can't make any promises at this particular juncture.
Okay. I think we have completed our mission, which is to at least go through.
I have one minor housekeeping question. I mean, you guys are gonna have to help me here, but I think the background is listed twice. I think it's listed in water and sewer and DPW.
What is this?
The DACCON?
Background.
No, two different machines.
Two different machines.
I thought, are you sure?
Yeah, there's one that Sean has that was completely rebuilt, and there's the one that Rick has, which is a sweeper vacuum truck.
No, background, it's got the sweeper I got, but
Yep.
I think we have one background.
We've got the one that was just rebuilt. That's Sean's. That was like 250,000, I think he said. I gotta look for which one that is. Hold on, I'm sorry, Rick. And you know something? Yeah, I may be wrong too, but I didn't. They have another truck.
I know they do, they've got a sweeper.
That would be
You worked
page
in my
9.
grade, as you said.
Is what you're talking about, right?
I
You
don't
didn't find
know.
out who he was? Yeah.
Page 9 is the public works equipment.
Yeah, the
He
number
was moving
47
into
in the
a-
background,
Oh, Bob.
Item
I thought you
20.
said a different name last time.
I said Bob. Okay. I dotted.
right?
Yep.
Page 9.
Now go to water and sewer.
Okay, so you don't come with the last one.
Which page is that one? Water and sewer.
Water and
Where's their vehicles? That is
He just left.
58. Am I correct with that one?
I don't
think it
know.
is.
Still working margarita.
I couldn't do it myself.
58.
I know we were talking a sweeper truck to a
58.
vacuum truck.
You know that name?
So
Okay.
we've got another background
Well,
on
we should- Is it?
58.
I know.
I see what you're saying.
Not
It's
sure.
2000 and both
She's down
2004.
They're both 2004s,
See, I told
Both.
you.
so I don't think, I don't know.
Wait till I go.
That would be that's an asset list. You're correct.
Yeah.
Al might have a good point there.
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Al may have a good point
We
on
love it,
on page number 9. Row 20 shows number 47 International VACCON truck. 2004.
Yeah.
And if you go to page 58 for the water department, you'll see line item 5, water sewer drain VACCON truck, which is one that was just rebuilt as a 2004.
So,
It may be the same truck.
same thing? So
Or
far?
it may be they split the expense, I don't know. But I don't think so, it doesn't. The numbers
I don't
the
think
numbers
so.
too
I
big.
know that the vac
We
truck
would
that
split something between water and sewer
Sewer.
and public works because they're two legal entities differently funded. I don't think we would.
I don't know, it was just an
That would be
observation.
first, I think.
It's a question to be answered.
I
bet there's
I
an
do
answer.
know
See if I
that
can
the
get
one
an answer to that.
water and sewer has one we just rebuilt last year.
Don't know.
They
Just
sent it out.
just a question.
Yeah, and he could be right. It may be listed twice.
Okay, but is it the same numbers as well, the 7,000?
Same year, same everything.
Right, but I'm just saying, if anything, we have a duplicate asset,
Yeah.
and the $7,334 overstatement for the,
Yeah.
for the year.
I can see if I can get an answer on that real quick.
Okay. Anything else? Well, what does our attendance look like if our 4 to 6 schedule? Hopefully it'll be less time.
Yeah, I'll probably have to leave.
Going at you.
Better than splitting the
Yeah,
My hope will be for
Amy, will you be able to make?
Yeah, I can do tomorrow. I'm all set.
Al?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Then if this is a good place to stop, and
Yep.
I'm hoping Diane will have a little energy left to just say, gee, is there anything I need to change for tomorrow? Tomorrow we can finish off by going through the numbers.
I will change the spreadsheet, and I will try to, put in the numbers we both agreed to. So, and any other changes, do my
And
best
the
to
goal would be to
update.
come up with the total numbers requested for 1920, and then make a decision as to whether we support that roll-up number or whether we want to
Yep.
change the overall number.
Right, and I've heard a few suggestions. That might be some figures.
That's fine.
Yep.
It'll be a good discussion.
Good. We made
Alright.
some really good progress.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I know
Motion.
everybody's got crazy schedules.
We got a 5:30, right?
We have a
5.
5 o'clock.
I just got an answer on that truck.
Yeah.
It is a single truck, and it's shown, the answer was, we have one truck and they share it.
Share in the municipal.
So who would give it up on their asset sheet?
They divide it,
Oh, they divided
Yeah.
it between the two?
just like we do with the town accountant, the town facilities director and all that stuff.
Are you divided?
Was an exception to the
Coming
rule.
in half hour?
So efficient.
Does this mean
Use of
rec
our
can
resources
borrow the
as
truck
minimal
from the
as
school?
They need their own.
Yeah, but the rec department can borrow.
Yeah. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? If we need to do that, or just do I call it adjourned?
So moved.
I'll make a
So
motion
moved.
to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
You don't need a vote.
Trevor, Amy, all in favor?
In
Aye.
20 minutes.
Thank you, this is a.
We got